All right, Sistas fans, let me just say the after show special was amazing. If there's anyone who was there, let me know in the comments. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. Links to my social media are in the description box of every video I post. I would love for the Tyler Perry show to be a regular thing. Obviously, it depends on filming schedules and whatnot, but Tyler's gotten to the point where there are different projects going on where he's not doing everything himself. So we are in a situation where he has I don't want to say pocket watching, but clock watching in terms of like how much time the man has. But I would love, because this was just amazing. I would love to see more of this. I want to see the cast of Bruh, Ruthless, Sistas. When I say Sistas, I mean all the cast, even the male cast members on stage, the Oval, the upcoming All the Queen's Men, even young Dylan, basically various Tyler Perry projects. I want to see the cast talking about the show because I feel like it adds a new level of context when we hear from the people portraying the characters who we're watching. Obviously, like I said, things will have to be worked out, especially like the Oval. You can't have like 50 characters on stage at once, but I would love to see more. This was amazing. I think it's great for fans in general to have the opportunity to be in the presence of the people they love to see each week. Obviously, with more people getting vaccinated, and I'm not saying the world is opening up more, but I will say that it's dealing with the Delta variant it's being done in such a way where there are options to hopefully prevent the spread. This isn't meant to be a PSA, but I'm just trying to paint the picture of we're actually able to have live studio audiences again. And I feel like it added a new weight of excitement for this event. So let me just say that I had sorry, my chair's squeaking. I had an amazing time watching the Tyler Perry show. I hope there's more. I hope that there's eventually a filming I can go to, because like I said, I get my shot on the 29th, my second shot, so I'll be fully vaccinated, and if I can find the means to get down there, I will definitely do it. I remember the other day I looked it up on Google, and Tyler Perry Studios is about 7 hours from where I live now, and yeah, it'll be very great to get down there at some point. But in any case, guys, I just wanted to say that if you missed the show, I haven't found it online, sadly, yet. Maybe there's somebody out there who's posted the entire special, because I definitely want to rewatch it. But to really sum it up, it's Tyler Perry and the 5 women of Sistas. Just to put it pretty bluntly, they're on stage. It's kind of a blending of finding out the auditioning process for the ladies, kind of like their lives before and after getting cast. There were some interesting tidbits of information that I didn't even know. Like, I didn't know KJ Smith was originally going to portray Lily in the Oval, but then Tyler pulled her to the side on her birthday. I think she said May 6th or something, and pretty much said, because I think everybody in the room at that time, Tyler's like, everybody, you all made it to the show in regards to the Oval. But then he pulled KJ to the side and is like, you know what? I'm actually working on another show I think you'll be great in, and that was the birth of Sistas. So on top of that, Ebony, aka Karen, I didn't know she auditioned to be Danny, Sabrina, and Karen. She pretty much auditioned for all the roles. And I mean, even Novi Brown even auditioned to be Karen. It was just pretty much one of those things where there was a brutal auditioning process, chemistry test and whatnot, and pretty much Tyler picked it where, the women fit the roles that they eventually got. And I really love the fact that he did this during season 3. The show, look, I know I have problems with the show, but the show was still a hit, and I just love the fact that we were able to take this journey. I think my favorite moment of the special was when Tyler did a recap. It's like, let's take a journey from, episode 1 to how we got here to the season 3 mid-season finale. And then when it finished, he was like, oh, damn, y'all been through a lot of shit. I'm like, oh, because they really have. Like, if you're a person who, let's say you've been watching since episode 1, but it's safe to assume you've forgotten some stuff. But when you watch that compilation video, it's like, yeah, a lot of stuff has happened to these people. So in any case, This was a good special. I do have some, I don't want to say gripes, but I think it could have been better because, number one, I wish it could have been 2 hours, or maybe like the haves and have not specials where it was 2 hours slash 2 parts. People were telling me in the live stream that my guess was probably right, that they say filming is 4 hours, but they probably show the audience the episode early, because remember, this was filmed a couple weeks ago, and the way they were talking, I'm thinking that the audience actually saw the mid-season finale at the filming of this special before everybody else did on the 18th last night. The same thing about the haves and have-nots final episode. Obviously, these people saw it early, so it's like, yeah, by the time the special airs, it's like, oh yeah, they're making references and spoilers and whatnot. And that to me actually seems like a turnoff to actually going to these events, because you know my function on the channel. If I watched an episode, like let's say it was a grand finale, a season finale, a series finale, if I watched that episode 3 weeks early, that would F up my schedule so bad, because you know how I do. Typically there are weeks where I'm doing maybe 20-30 videos a week. And if I already know what's going to happen over the course of, you know, a 3-week period in the finale, that would mess up a lot, because I'm not allowed to talk about, you know, the finale until after it airs. And even some of my prediction videos, I will be iffy about posting them, because it's like, well, I would have predicted this happening anyway because of what happened in episode 21, but I can't talk about what happened in episode 23. So yeah, that's very perplexing. But in any case, I just love the fact that we even got some great questions from Tyler in regards to, what do you do when you have two men with potential? Does money make a man more attractive? We even had a couple fan questions, and that's the thing I really wish we had more of. Like, you know, that's why we needed like a part 2 or whatnot. Like, this part was pretty much, you know, a mixture of how the cast members came together and became sisters. But on top of that, we had a couple fan questions. But I would just love to see more of the cast members and Tyler giving responses to some of these heavy hitting questions. I love the fact acrimony came up, because that movie, even though it wasn't a great movie in my opinion, it had a lot of great discussion points. And I feel like the same thing can be said of Sisters, where maybe it might not be the best series to everybody, but it does breed healthy discussion about relationships. I think that a lot of the women had varying answers on different questions. I think Novi, if you don't know, she is heavy in astrology. And I think there was that one fan question about, I make more than my husband, but I'm still trying to play the role of being the submissive wife. And she went in, and I was like, oh damn, I could tell I can tell she had a lengthy answer and they cut it down for the sake of the hour-long special. But I just love the audience out there too. You know, it was cool to see people in the crowd, you know, with their drinks and whatnot. And, you know, that live studio audience feel is something that can't be replicated with a laugh track. So I just love the fact that, you know, it felt very interactive. Like, it felt like I was there, except I was drinking Mountain Dew instead of a cocktail or whatever. But, you know, I just love the fact Tyler was talking about how it was great. You know, the show, y'all made it #1. The ratings are through the roof. The fans are just going wild. The fact that, you know, you all are buying cars and houses and whatnot. I'm just sitting there like, I love that, because, you know, I love when I see the cast members from various shows. I think Maurice said he bought a house on, online. He posted he got a house recently. I think Sharon from The Oval, you know, posted about getting a house recently. So, you know, the level up isn't just going around to just Zach. Everybody else is doing their thing. And then even learning the stories of, like, you know, Novi, it's been like, what, 12, 13 years and no big breaks. And she was on a cruise at the time to kind of get away from it all. And then she did the audition on a boat or on a cruise on a whim. And then it ended up working out. And then, you know, Danny, and I'm sorry, I'm saying the character names, but Danny said what she was looking for mom. I had like $12 on my bank account. Hell, Novi said she was like -400 on her rent. But, you know, Danny was like, Mignon was like, I have $12 in my bank account. I was in a $3 Target tank top and some underwear when I got the call that I got the job, and I was so excited. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, is that me living at our parents' house? And then eventually I'm going to get a phone call and whatnot. Maybe might not be Tyler Perry, but there might be some blow up happening that I don't know about. So there's that. Hell, I'm trying to get, confirmation that the land surveyor finished everything so I can move to the next step of getting the land in my name. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And no, that's not a cry for help. That's literally what's going on, because August 19th, today marks 2 months since I moved back home from my apartment. So then from there, I think that just learning about the auditioning process and the fact that, like Tyler said, even if we don't agree with how he does things in terms of production and filming, he does make a valid point, because there are various cast members, or there are cast members from various Tyler Perry projects I've spoken with who have said the same thing. Man, I'm on the set of this new movie, or I'm on the set of this show, and it's so weird because I'm so used to being in such a fast-paced environment. I'm not used to spending 3 weeks filming a movie. I'm used to filming like 20 episodes in a week. So, like Tyler Perry said, the people in front of the camera and the people behind the camera, working with him will prepare them for everything. And I believe that. I definitely believe it. So for everybody saying, you know what, Tyler needs to hire you and everything, is like, fam, I don't know if I can do it. I mean, and I know it sounds weird. It's like, well, Jeremy, you talk a lot of talk about the quality and crap, and now you're saying you can't do it. I'm just being realistic. I have no acting experience. I have no writing credits. I am just a fan. So it's like, I give props, and I say this all the time whenever I talk about certain things. It's no shade to the actor. They're just doing their job. But sometimes I feel like, based on how the filming's done, they're not always able to give their A game, especially there's a huge inconsistency in the acting where, a 3-minute scene, the acting varies because of the fact that there's so many edits and cuts and whatnot, or they do it in one take. But, with that being said, I really did enjoy just the whole segment, just the whole thing in general. I thought it was good discussion, and I want to, make sure I cover all the good stuff before I get to the diary of a mad black tweeter. I might have to do a separate video on that altogether, but I think one of my favorite things was the moment where he did a vote. Well, actually, two things. I cannot pronounce her name, but basically the young lady from North Carolina, I believe, who bought her first car. It was cool how Tyler, like him and the cast paid off her car. I was just sitting there the whole time like, man, this is freaking Tyler Perry and the cast of Sistas. I mean, I would have been embarrassed because I wouldn't be able to keep my mouth shut from smiling. I'm like, oh my God, I'm on this Tyler Perry and the cast of Sistas. Oh my God. I was like, damn, I would have been excited. Look, no, I'm not trying to make fun of her or anything. I'm just sitting there like, man, I wouldn't be able to contain my excitement. So I feel like Tyler or somebody would have to call me beforehand. It's like, you're going to be on the stream for like maybe 2 or 3 minutes and we need you to calm down. That would be me, because I would be so overjoyed to just have the opportunity. But, I didn't hear about that news story, to be honest. I think I might have seen it while scrolling, but I didn't pay it much attention. But that's jacked up that not only did she go viral out of ridicule, but that was completely unprofessional. It's like a customer at your place of business signed a contract to make payments on a car, yet you're going to ridicule them for that. That's bull crap. Especially, just taking her name and making a mockery out of it. So I love when Tyler's like, every time you crank the car, I want you to go Sistas. I love that. That was excellent. It's like, you're on a talk show about sisters and Tyler helped out his sister. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Then they did a vote, talking about the toxicity. Wait, I'm sorry. Is that a word? The toxic nature of the relationship. Sorry, there were dogs barking. I checked outside. It was a deer in the backyard and they were going nuts. My dad has like 3 dogs he's training up to be hunting dogs, and they just lost their damn mind. So, yeah, the toxicity of their relationship. But they did the vote, and I mentioned this in my sister's review, but it was basically Robin or Gary. And if I remember correctly, Gary only got like a little over 20 votes, whereas Robin got well over 70. I think it was like an audience vote, between the people that were actually in the audience. And I don't know who the hell voted for Gary, but in any case, he said, I guess Cheeto's out of a job. It's like, no, Cheeto, he's going to be around for a while. We love him. And I kind of was like, it goes back to, like haves and the have-nots, where Justin Nicholas James was working on there. And I'm like, Justin needs to go. And it's like, I'm thinking, is the only reason he's there because him and Tinka were a thing, or are a thing, and he got, you know, the role to just stay in there? Or, I mean, when you do that, it's kind of at the detriment of the another main character. I feel like Justin being around so long happened at the expense of giving Jeffrey character growth, that is. And in the same vein, why in the world is Gary still going to be around? Like, what point does he serve to the story? Now, I'm not saying Tyler couldn't write it to be better. Don't get me wrong. I feel like he could. But realistically, it's like I said in my episode review. Why is Calvin still in the show? Because the thing about it is, if you keep some of these love interest characters around, all you're doing is making it so even if Sistas is 6 or 7 seasons long, you're going to make it so the women look even more incompetent than they usually do. Because no matter, it's almost like, obviously, whenever a person's writing a script and whatever, they're the quote unquote, and I don't want to say this in vain, they're like God in the sense, and this is depending if you believe in predestination versus free will. They're pretty much the author of the story. They write everything as it happens, meaning that they already know how it's going to end. So you can have a series that's 20 years long, but no matter what happens between year 1 and year 20, character A is always going to end up with character B. The thing about it is, I just love watching shows back in the day like Boy Meets World. Honestly, I wasn't. Now, looking back, Zach and Kelly were a terrible couple. Same thing with Corey and Topanga, but at the end of the day, I feel like they're the best 90s example. Dwayne and Whitley, I feel like it's the best one. I'm not just saying that because I'm black, but I just love the way some shows and movies tell it, where two main characters, they may eventually end up together, but throughout their story, they just aren't together. Most of the time, they might hook up once or twice. They might have a relationship that might not end too well. It might not last too long. They'll date other people, but by the time they actually get together, you can see the growth and development of both characters, where it's like sometimes you find the right love, but at the wrong time, because either one or both of you aren't ready. So when they eventually get together, it feels like they've matured, they've done this, they've done that. But with Sistas, I feel like Tyler always writes these characters to regress. Like, even if a character has made a certain amount of growth during the course of a season, he'll just get rid of all that, go back to level 1, and be like, okay, well, we put these two characters together again. Because if Gary's still around, that just means him and Andy are either going to get back together, or he's just going to be a creepy stalker like Justin. Or Randall. Some people have been comparing him to Randall from If Loving You Is Wrong. And it's just ridiculous. But at least Randall on If Loving You Is Wrong worked because he was an enjoyable character to watch, even though he was an annoying asshole. Gary is just Gary. So for the life of me, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. If he enjoys working with people, which I get it, Tyler Perry's done that and said that many times in plays and whatnot. Like, hey, if you see such and such a person, Cheryl Pepsi Riley, Tony Grant, the Davis couple, not Davis, the man couple, David and Tamela, it's because he enjoys working with them so much. He keeps putting him in different projects. But that's the thing though, Tyler, you put them in different projects. If you enjoy working with somebody so much, I think it would be best to put them in different projects. For example, KJ Smith was originally supposed to be in The Oval, but guess what? He's like, I want to put you in a different show. I'm not saying he needs to make a show revolving around Cheeto, aka Gary, but I'm just saying that why not just put him in a different project where you can show more of his versatility as an actor? I honestly feel like that does more for the actor than keeping them on a show far longer than they need to. But that's just my opinion. Aside from that, I really don't have too much to say about Miss Fatima, because Crystal is a wonderful woman. She's done an interview with Angela, aka Veronica, on her YouTube, and she's pretty much given her backstory. She was Tyler Perry's stylist. She never said she wanted to be an actress, but she did one day, and it turned out to be a hit. And you could tell when the audience lost their damn mind at the very mention of Zatima that they're the thing. And I feel like with Zatima, that relationship is going to have a lot of ups and downs and turmoils. I feel like a majority of viewers are far more interested in the development of those two characters than anything Andy and Gary go through, because they feel more real. They feel more believable. Whereas you've dumbed Andy down so much that that's the only way Gary and Andy together makes sense. That you have one character acting so incredibly stupid. But with Zatima, it just shows you that, yeah, you should definitely write a show about them. They should be Martin and Gina to an extent. No, honestly, instead of Martin and Gina, make it Michael and Jay from My Wife and Kids. I just feel like a lot of us would agree we would all watch a show focusing around Zatima. That's not to say a couple of the Sistas cast can't come along, but I just feel like their relationship is the only one worth watching because it's the only one that has strong writing and real development. Everybody else is just on a repetitive hamster wheel, because no matter how much energy you put out, no matter how long you're running, we're always going to be in the same spot, and it's ridiculous. So I think the last thing to talk about is Diary of a Mad Black Tweeter. Now, to be honest, I was sitting there thinking, oh damn, I would have been in a mixed bag. Like, you know, if one of my tweets popped up, would I be excited or would I be scared as hell? But let me just say, this was an interesting segment, and I know this might sound ridiculous, but hell, I would love if we had like a 1 or 2 hour special called Diary of a Mad Black Tweeter, and it's just Tyler Perry responding to tweets about his stuff. Isn't there a segment on one of those late shows? Is it Jimmy Fallon, where it's like celebrities read mean tweets or something like that? I would love to just see the way he reacts. But okay, I'm going to be real. I didn't take notes. I watched this special as a fan, and I enjoyed it. So if I remember correctly, a tweet about the wigs, the prostate, comment, the fact that I think the funniest tweet was when that one person said Karen never does anybody's hair, Sabrina doesn't even hold a pencil right or push the calculator buttons right. And what was the other one? Something about 4 different sets. To the person who mentioned that it only seems like the show only has the same 4 sets, what show have you been watching? And may I lead your attention over to Assisted Living, where there's only 1 set. Sistas has the 4 apartments that the women live in, because if I remember correctly, they all live in apartments, condos, whatever. Not to mention Maurice and Calvin's place, Fatima's place, the law firm, the salon, the bank, the airport, the police station / jail, the gay bar. I want to put in 2 or 3 more locations to take up spots for like restaurants and whatnot that the characters go to eat at, and the hospital. I just named over 15 places. That tweet was stupid. Everything else was funny as hell. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I forgot one tweet. The one about these grown women with money sleeping in twin beds. That was hilarious. I just love the fact that he was able to poke fun at himself for that one. I love that. I love the fact that Tyler called out haters, but at the same time, he was able to say, you know what, that's on me with the bed thing. But let's talk specifically about the wigs. Like I said, I might do a separate video on these tweets, because I feel like I might have missed a couple. I think, even the prostate one, he brings up the writer's room. When it comes to him addressing the writer's room and the wig stuff, he didn't say anything that we haven't already heard. You know, from I had a writer's room before, it pretty much wasn't speaking to the audience and this and that. I don't feel like there's anything I can add to this conversation that I haven't already said in maybe 20 other videos, just to put it out there. But I do think that a lot of people wouldn't be saying this if it wasn't true. Let's talk about the wig specifically, because I already give Tyler Perry props in plenty of videos. Assisted Living in House of Pain, if you haven't been watching the new episodes, I encourage you to, because they're really good. Sadly, the ratings are not as high as the previous season, but the writing, the quality of the characters, way better than the last season they had on BET. So I urge you, at least try it out. Or when the shows come back later in the fall, just check them out. Trust me. Don't believe me? I have episode reviews of every single episode, so check those out. I talk big. The shows are really good. When it comes to Sistas and the Oval, I don't think he's really going to allow anyone else to do those shows other than him. I mean, he did mention, like, when he originally wrote the show and whatnot, he gave the scripts to, like, executive producers, assistant producers who were female, and he's like, I know these people will tell me the truth. I don't think that, I mean, I could be wrong, maybe I misheard him, but I wonder if he has these same people reading the scripts for season 2, season 3, and, you know, maybe even beyond that, because I would really love if Tyler at least had consultants just to make sure the story made sense. Like, it's great if you just showed them season 1 and they were like, oh, this is good, but I think it would be great if you showed them the future seasons to basically balance it out, so women could be like, you know what, I don't think this character is being represented well. Like, you're just writing them to be incompetent just for the sake of keeping this other character around, instead of building a compelling story as to, oh, okay, these two are going to grow apart, they're going to do their own thing, but then they'll eventually come back together or whatever. I feel like Tyler Perry is missing that. I feel like even though some of these tweets, they could have been worded better. And to be honest, I feel like the producers or whoever that picked the tweets, I feel like they picked some of the more tame ones. Because trust and believe that I think I speak for everyone when I say that Tyler Perry, if he was at the Haves and Have-Nots reunion special, there should have been a segment where he pulled up tweets from fans about that finale. But I don't think there were any clean ones about that. But going on about the wigs, again, I don't know anything about hair. That's why I pay stylists to do it for me. $65 an hour. And sometimes, you know, because I film so fast, maybe some hairdos aren't up to par, but that's because we do things so quickly. This is a message here. Tyler Perry, I'm not a woman. If you've seen any of my live streams, I really don't have that much hair. I don't really know about doing hair. All I know is my experience goes to being a kid and having to sit in the freaking hairdresser for hours when my mom got her hair done, and I hated it. So I want nothing to do with hair related, careers. I think the fact that you flexed about how much you pay your stylist was a terrible representation of your argument. You did admit that there are times where certain hair pieces and whatnot didn't look all that great, but because you said you paid $65 an hour, when we see the finished product and it looks garbage, it's like, you paid $65 for that? I know people who were like, you know what, I can do a press and curl better than that in less than 2 hours, or my cousin can twist hair better, or they put together hair better. The fact that you flexed about how much you pay your stylist, the fact that you're a billionaire, that's what makes it so bad when these things go viral. It's the fact that there are writers, producers, short films, even student films who have far less available resources and a budget to work with, yet the quality of the characters' wardrobes, hair pieces, hair extensions, what have you, look phenomenal by comparison. It's easy to hate on people, especially when they're successful, especially when you've seen them rise from the bottom to the top of the food chain, the likes of Kevin Hart, certain musical artists and what have you. the fact that Tyler Perry goes viral every couple months, whether it be because of a meme or a screenshot or a video clip of a questionable piece of dialogue, I feel like that says something and you should listen to it. Tyler Perry pretty much said exactly what he always says. I had a writer's room, but it didn't work out. It wasn't speaking to my audience. People talk about the hair pieces and whatnot, but guess what? This movie got so many ticket sales, or this movie got so many streams online, or this show is number one. I think it's important to have a moment and say, okay, a lot of people are saying this negative stuff. Should I just let it run off my back like, what water does off a duck's, back? Or should I really take a moment and say, a lot of people wouldn't say this unless it was true. Or maybe I might not know enough about hair, but if I see a certain cast member come out to set and I'm like, yeah, maybe we need to spend more time working on this, hairdo and whatnot. I don't think the world will freak out if a Tyler Perry movie takes 6 days to film instead of 5. Or if a season of a Tyler Perry show, whether it be Sistas or The Oval, they get it filmed in a month as opposed to 2 weeks. I just think that overall, being a billionaire yet putting out material which doesn't look good, because as a person, I was a communications major, so I took video editing classes, I took a screenwriting classes as an elective when they entered the cinematic arts program in Liberty. But I'm talking like when it first started, before there were even cameras and whatnot, it was pretty much just a big classroom with the professor with a dry eraser board. Like, this was before we had really anything. And I'm just thinking about looking at some episodes of these various shows, and if I would have turned that in as a project, I would have probably got a very low grade because of certain things that just didn't line up, whether it be continuity, quality, set pieces, wardrobe and whatnot. So I feel like Tyler Perry is just tired of addressing writer's room and hair wigs and stuff like that. I just feel like Tyler Perry's going to do what Tyler Perry's going to do, because at the end of the day, he's the billionaire. He's the one with the number one rated shows and movies and everything like that. But I just feel like instead of, flexing money and income to pretty much quote unquote excuse bad quality, wardrobe, stuff like that, I don't think that's a good look. That's just me. Like, I've come to grips that maybe I've said things in videos, not just venting about the whole Tyler Perry haves and have not special, but in general over the years, I might have said things that probably docked me from ever getting that quote unquote phone call, email, or invite to Tyler Perry Studios. But I feel like when I say certain things, you all know it's from a place of concern and support as a fan, as opposed to being ridiculed by a hater. Because to be completely honest, if you look at the Haves and Have-Nots Final Temptation special I was in, I let the people know up front about the YouTube channel and everything, and they checked it out. So it's like, I feel like even though I quote unquote criticize, they recognize that I did it as a fan. And that's why I was part of that special to begin with. So when I mentioned the wigs and stuff like that in regards to those tweets, I hope it comes across the same way. I honestly feel like most of, if not every single tweet was correct. Now, the prostate thing, I honestly have no comment about that. The set piece, I already told you how it's bull crap because there are a bunch of locations. But in regards to wigs, writer's room, the beds, I feel like those were all valid. So I just really hope that Tyler Perry, maybe, I don't know, I get it. Like, if you're working for somebody and they have that much power, you would be nervous to even say anything. But I do feel like, if I was an actor on one of these shows, being someone who's reviewed these shows for years, I feel like I would just be like, hey, is this, where the character is really going to go this season? Like, I feel like it kind of steps on, the progress he made last season or whatever. But again, he doesn't have a writer's room. So I just honestly feel like I hope Tyler, regardless if he does change his mind somewhat, season 3 has already been filmed. So the back half of season 3 is coming. I mean, hell, didn't they do that early 2021? I forgot. But either way, I know season 3 is already in books. No word on season 4 yet. So hopefully, I really wish somebody, or maybe he'll take a moment of reflection to think that maybe some of this fan feedback could be used to make season 4 even better. Maybe I'll do like a separate video like, hey, just a letter to Tyler Perry, season 4. Here's what I hope would happen, this kind of thing, But I just, I know there are some people in the comments who say, wow, how do you ever expect to go to Tyler Perry's studio when all you do is talk about how bad stuff is over and over again? But I know to block those people out, kind of like Tyler blocking certain tweets, but focus on the people who understand I'm a person who talks from an honest place. The cast of Bruh have said, you tell us when we're good, you tell us when we're whack, because we appreciate your feedback. Because I feel like the Bruh cast is on another level of respect with me. When I say that, I mean I have respect for them because they have said, we know you review from an honest place. You aren't just someone who says this person can't act or the writing sucks or this or that. You're a person who watches the show, you dissect it, you enjoy it, but then you also talk about what you don't enjoy, and we love that. So I feel like whenever I talk about this kind of stuff in videos, it comes across in that way. I'm sorry I went on a tangent there, but the Diary of a Mad Black Tweeter is hilarious, and I hope Tyler Perry brings it back. Lord have mercy, I would not want to see what it would look like for House of Pain and Assisted Living, especially the first season they had on BET, because I know it must be god-awful. But with that being said, Tyler Perry special, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I might do a couple of branch-off videos from that particular special talking about it more. Yes, I will be doing a trailer breakdown for the sneak peek of what's left in season 3. Thankfully, a couple of the fans have sent me that trailer, so I just need to dissect it. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about there. Karen being pregnant is one of them. But from that, let me know if you enjoyed the special. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope to find it online so I can rewatch it a couple times. It was really good. I just love learning behind the scenes facts and whatnot. But with that being said, what did you think of the special? Would you love to be in the studio audience? And like I said at the beginning of the video, if you were there, let me know. Maybe you got some pictures. Some people tag me and post, I talked with Tyler Perry. And I'm thinking to myself, but did you tell him about me? But for real though, I'll catch you all in the next video. Today's Thursday. I'm only doing my Sistas review as well as this special event review. I've got a lot of things to do, note-wise, from trailer breakdowns and stuff like that. So expect a lot of Sista and Oval content over the next few days, because remember, I know All the Queen's Men is like in a couple weeks or whatnot, but the Oval is the only show that I need to review for the time being. So I do have videos coming up like the Queen Sugar season 6 trailer breakdown, the Miss Pat show review. I got a friend who's into music. He released an album. I promised him I'll do a review on that, just because he's a cool guy I know from college. And from there, I think I'm going to kind of, take a break from have and have not content. Some people have told me they've been doing rewatches. So, eventually I might bring that rewatch series back where I talk about, episode reviews and whatnot for the first couple seasons. But I know I need to jump back into eBay. I have not done eBay in over a month because I'm working in a very much smaller living area than I did in my apartment. But I'm trying to make ends meet. Hopefully I hear something back about the land so I can move to the next step of the house stuff, whatever that is. But I'm just trying to hold on. So that's really all I can do. But thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I just appreciate the support. Let me know your thoughts. And if you want to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. And with that being said, if there's a Sistas fan event part 2, what characters would you like to see on stage discussing the show? I feel like, having the male characters there would have been a big help. That way it would have been more even, because Tyler held it down as the host, don't get me wrong. But it would have been great to get some male perspective on some of those questions, not just a female perspective.